You know how to do a movement.
Stay alive during your set.
Yeah. Okay. So first one, I'll agree. I've changed my mind. All right. Second one. Whoops. Get off.
Second one. What is the second one?
Sensation is not correlated with how effective an exercise or a particular technique is. Now, I know what Grace's answer to this one is because she's blown up about it before when I've mentioned that he's said this before. So he doesn't believe that if you're feeling it in the muscle, it doesn't equate to how effective the actual exercise is, which to me, I cannot see how that makes really much sense, because
I think that's so stupid.
the most important thing is that you're feeling it in the muscle.
Literally what?
That you
Wait, I need to read
training.
that again. Wait. Sensation is not correlated with how effective an exercise is. Well, then what is correlated with how effective an exercise is?
I'd say...
I get you could track your growth, and then that could be the shower of success. But what?
I'd say it is, because at the end of the day, they have modified their... So, for instance, you take a bench press, right? You do feel it in your chest, right? But do you feel it as much as if you do, like, a machine, a converging chest press machine? You're probably going to feel it more, I reckon, in the machine than on bench, because there's certain limitations to a bench press that you can't... what's it called? You have to keep your arms like at the horizontal with the bar. You can't converge, sort of. And yeah, you can't converge at the top, and you can't actually like lock your elbows in closer to your chest so that you've got the lengthened position of your chest fibers and stuff. But does that not then come down to sensation too? Like, you're feeling it better in your chest if you do the exercise differently, which is what they like sort of preach. I get they preach it for other reasons, but I feel like that's a hot take. That's not...
That is a hot take.
It's a hot take. I don't know if look, he's probably got science behind it to back it and stuff, but I don't know. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it's the purpose of when you're moving, doing exercise and stuff, you feel it. You need to feel it. If you're not feeling it, then I'm concerned that you're not doing it right, you know?
Yeah,
it's an indication that you're doing the movement correctly.
He's going to sit here and tell me that if I'm doing hip thrusts and I don't feel it in my glutes, then that's totally fine. Is that what he's saying?
If it comes down to sensation, then I don't know how they'd explain that, but like, you say that like one's better than the other anyway, because at the end of the day, you feel it more, no? Like, I don't know. That's a weird one. That's
a weird one. I'm hoping he has some evidence to back that up.
He's probably spoken about it before, and I've just missed the TikTok entirely. But
I'm not sold on that at all.
Yeah.
I like to feel the movement when I'm doing it, so I know that it works.
Yeah. We'll have to disagree with that one. I'm going to say that's...
I don't agree. I'm not convinced at all on that.
Yeah. Muscle damage is not causative of hypertrophy. Okay, here we go.
I disagree with this.
You disagree?
Someone, honestly, prove me wrong. Show me the evidence. But is it not pretty simple knowledge that tearing the muscle fibers equals growth?
Yeah, I'm confident that's like the most basic form of it, is you need to just tear it to grow it. Like,
literally.
Yeah,
What does he mean by muscle damage?
Muscle damage is not causative of hypertrophy. Yeah, again, it's another one I'd have to disagree with. I don't completely understand, because he's not saying it. It's not like the last two where he was like, it's not the only reason. Obviously, there's many factors that go into hypertrophy and building muscle. But he's saying it's not causative at all of hypertrophy. That's what?
Muscle damage isn't really a great way to word what he's trying to say, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't...
Because it
doesn't mean like injury, obviously.
Well,
We're just talking about the tearing of muscle fibers when you work out. That's what happens.
Well, that's just what happens, and that's what makes you grow.
Yeah. That's where I'm missing it. I don't.
Is it not basic science to know that tearing your muscle is what causes muscle to grow? Okay, you tear your muscle, and then they're called myofibrils.
Mm-hmm.
They're the little tiniest little muscle compartments.
Grace has done anatomy.
I've done anatomy at university. Okay, I know this. They're like little strands in your muscle.
Yeah.
They tear.
Yeah.
When you work out, and then those little fibers like regenerate to reconnect them, and that's where your muscle grows.
Yeah, it's one thing that
that was just a fun.
Yeah, is like
that was a fun little crash course for everyone. That's basic knowledge.
Yeah, she was doing the hand. Yeah, she was
If you
giving you a
watch the
diagram and all.
video-
If you're watching the
Yeah.
video or not.
Muscle growth.
Yeah.
It's basic. It's basic.
It's wigging me out because it's just I'm trying to see his perspective to it, and that's what I'm trying to do with these is understand what he's saying from his perspective. So yeah, okay, that one's a miss. So I'm gonna have to disagree because I'm struggling to see his perspective on that one.
But yeah, so that one's a massive miss.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm
that
gonna
hard.
say it's a miss.
I don't know. He's whacked muscle damage in there and not really elaborated on what he means by that.
Well, it's just simply a statement, and we're just going off what the statement is. There's probably more to it, but just off that statement, I'm gonna have to disagree.
That's just silly.
Grace is gonna have to disagree. That one, that was
silly.
A bad take. Personal training certifications mean next to nothing, and we have our own silly goose that went through 3 months in the
Silly
biggest scam. I reckon it's the biggest scam that is in the fitness world. Our PT certs are the biggest scam out there. More so, they're scamming these poor people into paying $5,000
I actually get emotional when
to be able to practice this shit.
when someone reminds me that I did my PT course. It actually makes me. I get really triggered.
So it's just, you may as well, and the knowledge you learn in it, you learn, well, if you take bio and stuff, you learn at school. If you take PE, you learn at school. But not everyone does those things. So I understand the 3 months of like teaching it.
It's great for someone that has literally zero idea about fitness and working out.
It really annoys me how they're going to make you pay $5,000, then waste 3 months on things you could honestly still learn. You can learn half this shit off TikTok now.
Yeah.
Like it's not knowledge that's really like, oh, it's hidden and you have to pay $5,000
The
to
only
know.
I picked up a couple of things from the content, but the only real knowledge I gained was about the business side of being a PT.
Yeah, that's it.
And how it's kind of shit.
Yeah, and exactly. And that you've got to do all these stupid things like pay rent, and it's just a losing game and it takes a long time to become like successful.
Credit to all the PTs out there. Not
Good
hating
job.
on you guys.
No,
because
we're hating on the people that made this stupid. They realized that it's like a legal thing.
Yeah,
they made it a legal thing, and they went, you know what, $5,000.
Yeah,
please justify how you're going to make you pay $5,000 to become a PT. Where does that make any sense? No way it costs $5,000 on a 3-month course. Like,
and the thing is so Ryan Dewar's point is personal training certifications mean next to nothing.
Agree.
I couldn't agree more, because you can get anyone who's never ever had any gym or fitness experience do this 3-month course, outlay $5,000, step foot into a gym and start training people. And they have not much experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to someone like you, for example, you're a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, thank you.
That's okay. It's just true, but like you know, and you don't have your PT certificate, but you could easily train.
That's what I mean. School taught me. PE taught me more than a PT, a $5,000 3-month PT course could. Like, just go back to school and do PE. No, you can find this information if you're really like that's what it bothers me that I guess do the course, whatever.
If you enjoy
enlighten the
studying,
people, but it's annoying that you're outlaying this much money and then you've got to go into a practice where you're outlaying money to go practice your work at a gym and you get clients that you don't particularly want at the start, depending on what your goals are. I guess some people take anything, but like you probably prefer a certain audience of people, and then you've got to take just what you get. And then it's a lot of work behind the scenes and stuff, and you've got to go in and out of gyms, and then you've got to train on your own. Like,
no, I just
shout out, but
I
it's a
feel like
scam.
no, I feel like definitely the certification itself means not a lot because anyone can get it. Literally anyone can get it, which is like a lot of things. It's not just personal training certs are a scam. A lot of things are a scam.
Yeah, but I couldn't agree more with that one. And you've got someone.
All the PTs out there, you guys are doing amazing. Let's just clarify again. We're not hating on you guys and your line of work. We're just hating on the fact that you had to outlay all this money to probably not learn a whole lot.
They're literally needed. And paying like stupid amounts of money for But you could then
the
go
monopoly.
On and say,
it's the monopoly.
It is. It's the same reason you get made to go to uni and pay $100,000 for a course to go become a nurse or something. Nurses are needed, but
it's just the monopoly.
Yeah, you got to escape the matrix.
No, is that not an Andrew Tate thing?
Yeah, it is.
Fuck Andrew Tate.
All right, we're not getting into that, but we're definitely agreeing with that one for sure. PTs have come under fire 2 weeks in a row. The PT questions are good, by the way.
They are.
All right, next one. Soreness is bad for muscle growth. We want to limit it in days following a bout of hypertrophy training. Now, I have a feeling that this doesn't apply to everyone. Based off, I feel like people get DOMs worse than others. Like it's a genetic thing.
You reckon?
I feel like. And
I feel like DOMS is based on a number of factors.
Such as
if you're eating well, if you're getting enough rest, what sort of training you're doing, like the frequency of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, recovery.
That's true. But I reckon it affects I feel like it can affect people differently too. Soreness is bad for muscle growth.
Soreness is bad for muscle growth.
Wanting to train something twice in the 1 week.
And you're still sore.
And you're still sore by the time it comes around. You can't do it to the level that you want to. But I suppose I can see where he's coming from.
I can see where he's coming from because he says we want to limit it in days following a bout of hypertrophy training.
But this annoys me because I feel like it puts into people's head. I've seen people come in and do stuff that I look at, and if I did, I'd feel like underwhelmed at the end of a session because you can tell like that some people don't go in enough. And then I guess there is a sweet spot because some people don't go in and go hard enough, and then other people go in too hard and then do too much. I feel like I can see where he says soreness is bad for muscle growth. Yes. If you were excessive with it, I understand. I mean, we want to limit it in days following about.
It's bad for muscle growth if you're trying to train
multiple times a week.
A muscle multiple times in 1 week because you can't be training a muscle if you've still got DOMs.
Yes, true. And your recovery period, I feel like gets longer.
So I guess that's just dependent on the person, is it not?
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. But and then the recovery period is longer. I feel like if you've gone in really hard, say on legs, you can't do legs the next. Say if you did not as hard, but then you and you could go back into the gym and do legs 2 days after. But you went in really hard and you couldn't do legs for a whole week after. That whole week and you're sore, you've actually got to replenish the muscle still over a longer course of time. I feel like because it's not repairing as quickly is what I'm saying too, because you've done too much. Like you've got to allow for more rest too if you've done more. So and people won't. So that one's, I'll give it a tick, but it does annoy me because I do see people who don't push hard enough in the gym, and statements like that I feel like are where people go, oh, okay, I don't need to go too hard. The thing that wigs me out, but I've seen his training videos and stuff. There's no way you're telling me that he's not at least remotely sore a couple of days after doing. Everyone gets DOMs. Everyone does.
I don't get DOMs often, unless I am trying a new exercise or I'm doing an exercise I haven't done in a while.
That's normally the cause of it. But yeah, you know what? True, because for the most part, you don't.
I don't think it's. Look, I don't think it's bad for muscle growth. If you get DOMs, just let yourself recover, then get back into it.
Yeah, I can see. No,
I think that's totally dependent on the person.
Yeah. I'll give it. I'll say I do kind of agree with it. Even though I'm in the mindset of when I go and do legs, if I'm not sore the next couple days after, I haven't done it hard enough.
I don't agree with that.
That's my view. But this is a great point for the new optimal boys versus like the old heads. If you had someone in here that was a bodybuilder back in the 80s and stuff and 90s, they would have eaten that comment alive. They would have gone, "You idiot," because I feel like there's no way there. Well, you know, it's hard, but when you're on gear, it's a little bit different. But
yeah,
they've got to be.
I don't want to hear it from anyone on steroids.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
No, I can agree with that one. Soreness is bad for muscle growth. We want to limit it in days following a bout of hypertrophy training. Had you not added in that second sentence, that would have been a very open-ended statement.
Yeah.
But because it's true, it's going to happen. But he was saying you want to limit it. You don't want to feel sore 5 days after doing one movement. You want to feel sore maybe the next day or the day after at most.
So, final thoughts?
I'll agree with it.
Yep, I agree somewhat. I think it's dependent on the person.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
All right, what is our next one?
Next one. So drop sets, supersets. He's also got Myo reps, rest pause sets. I've never heard of either of them. I'm going to assume they're the same thing as a drop set and a superset. And other intensity techniques are inferior to straight sets. What are your thoughts? I'm going to say...
Wait.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you go.
Straight sets as in... 4 times 12.
So yeah. Well, for instance, say you did 3 sets of 8 of chest press or something. We'll just say, or you give yourself like a it's just something like that over. Or let's use for instance the.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that drop sets and supersets and whatever else he's put in there are inferior to straight sets.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they inferior? What makes them inferior when you're increasing the time under tension for your muscles?
I know. This will come back to a case of in your straight sets, if you've gone to true failure, there shouldn't be room for more drop sets and supersets, and if there is, it'd be an indication you didn't. But also, it'd also be a case of doing it. How intense could you go with a drop set and a superset? You could go till you fatigue and you burn up, but like, I find I can sort of see what he's saying because
we do a lat raise drop set every week.
I know,
and it absolutely slaps. I love it.
True. I think it's more of a case because I did see a comment in here about it. It's more of a case of people enjoy doing supersets and drop sets. It's part of having variety in your workouts, so they're important, I will say. And he did agree with the comment that said that. So I will. But I think it's more he's saying that straight sets are where your priorities need to be. Is more in doing just the straight up movement for however many reps at the weight you have picked.
Okay.
I can
understand that. I can understand that, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things like supersets and drop sets.
I don't think there is either. And if you enjoy them, do them. I do them too. They're more of a case of saving time. I feel like when you superset, if anything. But they're good. They're good.
I don't know.
That's pretty much shat all over like classes and hit training and stuff because all that shit is supersetted and drop setted and stuff.
Well, it depends what you're training for though. What is if this is for hypertrophy? That might be fair. Well, see, I don't think we can compare it to like HIIT and group.
He's referred to these as intensity techniques, so that's where I'm saying it comes back to his point probably on
Yeah,
failure,
okay.
and that you can't go to true failure with these drop sets, supersets like you can on straight sets.
Yeah.
Just doing that, that's your best indication. I can agree with that, but there should be no shade thrown at drop sets or supersets and stuff, because we all do them and they're all really
I don't
good.
like that.
I don't know if
I don't like that point.
I can see where he's coming from. It'd be interesting to see if the science backed it. That's a case of, we don't know. We'll go for Jim Bro science. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I'd love my drop sets and supersets. Straight sets do take more priority by my workouts, I will say.
Yeah, me too.
So I can see where he's coming from.
I'm
definitely.
thinking hard about this one.
I'll you know what? Because of the way drop sets, supersets, and other intensity techniques are inferior to straight sets, I'll say
Look, if we're talking like basic principles of hypertrophy and gaining muscle, then they might be inferior compared to straight sets for building, muscle.
Yeah.
But that's it.
True. I'll somewhat agree. I can see where he's coming from, so I can somewhat agree.
Look, I can see where he's coming from too, so I can also somewhat agree. But I just think this is a completely unnecessary point to put in. Like, if you enjoy doing any of these things, just do it.
Yeah. But that's what I said. The comment said that, and he agreed with it. So
well, good.
So yeah,
That's fine then.
For that statement, I'll agree with it. Partially, but
me too.
Because do your drop sets, do your supersets. Don't neglect them. They're really good fun.
You can still go to failure with drop sets.
Yeah, it's a bit more vague, but the range in which you do, I feel like, with things like drop set, because you just go to the pump. The pump's
I feel like
good.
It's good. It doesn't mean that your muscles are growing.
Look, it comes back to the last question where we said it's more about enjoyment. If you're seeing your pump and you're getting motivated by that, good.
It doesn't
Guess
mean
what? It's going to get
your
you
muscles
in there more.
Are growing right now.
It doesn't directly cause muscle growth.
No.
It'll indirectly, but definitely, because you'll go back in there and be like, I want that again, and then you'll keep going back in. You'll get a gym addiction, and you'll get massive. So it indirectly causes muscle growth, but
it doesn't
actually. Yeah, no, it doesn't. When you see yourself getting pumped, that's not your muscle actually growing.
Blood flow.
Yeah, it's aiding in the muscle growth, but it's not. Not muscle growth.
Maybe I need to do the salt teaspoon thing so I can get a good pump.
Grace is
I can really
going to make a TikTok or reel this week, trying a teaspoon of salt, Lewis's teaspoon of salt, and she's going to see how big of a booty pump she gets. All right, next one. So we both agree? Both agree. The pump does not directly cause muscle growth.
Correct.
More volume is not better for muscle gain. It's almost always the opposite. This is...
Explain.
I'm going to agree. So more volume...
As in...
So, you know how you get given... Well, they always say about 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week is the Goldilocks zone. It's sort of where you want to go. More volume, so let's say you exceed that 20, is not better for muscle gain. It's almost always the opposite. We'll just start with so it's not better for muscle gain. Yes, because if you're able to go that much, you're either A, on steroids, or B, not trying hard enough.
I agree that more volume is not better for muscle gain.
Yes, but if you are somehow, and let's say you are trying hard in those sets, you're going to be really sore by the end of, like, when you come to do chest twice in your week and you're still sore, like, there's no need to do it again if you've... It's about intensity.
Less is more.
Yeah, it's about intensity. It's essentially... That's why you see these guys preach about doing, 3 sets of 5 to 7 reps and stuff. And
yeah,
it's true. You've got to go intense and at a somewhat low rep range. It's hard, but because when you're starting, I suggest it's better to go to an 8 to 12 rep range
100%.
Or 10 to 12 because you need to start to learn how to move it, learn form.
100%.
You don't need to go heavy. That's going heavy if you're doing 5 to 7. They're not doing 5 to 7 and just going, oh, yeah, just a light. No, it's 5 to 7 like to failure. And so that's heavy.
There is such thing as too much, which is what he's saying.
Definitely.
So I agree that more volume is not better for muscle gain.
And I can understand how he says it's almost always the opposite because too much it means you're going to be too fatigued. You're not going to recover in time, and you're going to end up injured or just not being bothered to go to the gym because you're going to be so fatigued and tired, and there's no way you can recover enough.
I feel like you'll plateau more.
Unless you're on gear. So
yeah. All right.
But
that one was easy.
That was a good one. We do agree with that. All right, next one. A set of 30 repetitions to failure causes similar muscle growth to a set of 5 repetitions to failure. I haven't seen any science or anything, but I can understand what he's saying.
Yeah,
failure is failure.
Yeah.
Regardless of what reps you're doing.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time if you are doing 30 reps to failure, I feel like.
Agreed.
I feel like that's where he's coming back to his drop set mentality thing, and that when you do a drop set and stuff, you're probably gonna go to like a higher rep range. So it
But then
does
if
seem
he's
a bit,
saying a set of 30 causes similar muscle growth to a set of 5, does that not contradict his drop set analogy thing?
What would you rather do? Do a set of 5 to failure or 30 to failure?
No, 5 to failure, obviously, but that kind of contradicts.
But straight sets, you do it a lower rep range type of thing.
That's if that's what he meant by the previous point.
That's just what we're assuming. But a set of 30 reps to failure causes similar muscle growth to a set of 5 reps.
All relative.
I'm gonna, I can fully agree.
I agree
with
that.
It's
relative.
Failure is failure at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're doing 30 reps to failure, maybe you might enjoy it. Good for you. Do it. Limit your rep ranges. If you're starting to get, that's what I've started to do. If you're starting to get a bit more confident with certain movements and things, limit your rep ranges down to. I find the sweet spot for me at the moment has been the 6 to 8 rep range. I've been loving that rep range. It's been good. It's like a good. What are you doing? The 6 to 8 rep range. Shout out. Because that's going to come up on the audio if you do
Lewis
that.
has dummy thick thighs.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good, even the 5 to 7, 5 to 8, 6 to 8.
You do you, boo.
Yeah,
whatever makes you happy and makes you feel good, that's fine.
Yeah. But
you know,
we agree.
I agree with that statement.
Right, I think
Just
this is
the
last one. Oh no, that was the last one. Okay, well there we go.
Do what you enjoy.
Ryan Dewars has been on the Talkin Fit pod.
I'm a bit apprehensive, but you had some good points.
Yeah, he did. Most of them we agreed with we agreed with 7 of them. So that was hot takes.
That was fun.
That was a good one actually. I saved that video because I thought it would make a good podcast episode because there's some things there. Grace is now watching monkey videos for whatever reason. Stop. What?
I'm trying to get us in like a funny mood because I feel like that was very serious.
But it was good. God.
See how fat it is.
Oh, actually, you know what would be
What?
what would be a good thing to do now would be
Driving to the banana store.
Oh my God! Stop!
Okay,
Turn it off.
Right.